Get ready for an unfair advantage over your competition. This is the Sales Edge podcast, where globally recognized sales expert and trainer Joe Peachy helps you sharpen your skills for booking more appointments and closing more deals. And now, here's your host, Joe Peachy.
Hey team, this is Joe Peachy on the Sales Edge. And Sales Edge has basically been put together, a podcast with high content to help you take what you do to the next level. If it's in sales, how do I get in front of that razor sharp target market? How do I increase my closing ratios? How do I generate leads? If it's as speaker, coach, or trainer, how do I take my intellectual property, my passion, my purpose, and turn it into money? And so we here at the Sales Edge, we are focused at helping you become better at what you do. This is podcast number 44. And we are sponsored by Peachy & Peachy, which is a training speaking consulting company, which works with small companies, individuals, right up to Fortune 100 companies. And so as we move forward, be aware that you're allowed to call me at 407-947-2590 for a complimentary cup of Joe, just to maybe talk shop, ask me a question or two, or give me some suggestions on future podcasts, or even disagree with me. Or you can send an email to joe@PICIANDPICI.com and send in your comments, questions, concerns, disagreements. We just want to continue to get better and be a resource to you. Now, as we move forward on podcast number 44, we're right in the beginning of the third week of September, which is, we got the fourth quarter coming up. So how do we finish strong to start fast? October, November, December are the fourth quarter of the fiscal year. Some people in the fourth quarter will tend to gear down. Well, because there's so many holidays towards the end of the year. There's family that comes to visit. You go visit family. There's just so many, I don't mean distractions in a bad way, but there's so many things you are asked to do, can do, that can take you off course. But this is an important quarter coming up, because based on what you do in your fourth quarter will determine your first quarter in 2020. Can you believe it? Can you believe we're getting ready to crack 2020? And, as George Burns said, if I knew I was going to get this old, I would have taken better care of myself. I just never thought I'd hit this spot. Still fired up, though. So let's talk about, some people see it as a foundation to a great new year. So to be able to finish strong, to start fast, to be able to have a great fourth quarter, we're going to take the next 2 weeks. And we're going to give you some ideas on what you can do to prepare for that great, fourth quarter. To have a great quarter, we have to prepare now. This is the time to create the proper foundation for that fourth quarter. So let's assess where we are. So to move forward, you got to look back. You got to look back at when the ball dropped for 2019, you had already set goals. You had already gotten your focus. You had a plan of action. You had big dream, big purposes, big focus. And along the way, life happens. You had this many clients. You wanted this many clients. So let's ask yourself a question. How did you do in quarter number 1? How did you do in quarter number 2? And how are you finishing quarter number 3? Now, I have a list of questions you may want to look into when you're evaluating those quarters. Number 1, did I achieve our 3-quarter goals? In other words, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. Are you in position to say, we achieved our goals? We didn't. Peachy & Peachy didn't crack the goal that we wanted. We had a big goal, big, hairy, audacious goal. And I can tell you, in assessing, we grew, but we didn't hit our goals. Number 2, were those goals written down? Ours were, which can be a painful thing or it can be an exciting thing. But either way, goals don't get achieved if they're not written down. One of the reasons why you write them down is how are you going to look back and see if you hit them if you didn't write them down? I don't know about you, but committing things to memory doesn't seem to work real well. And so if you didn't write them down, let's start writing things down. Question number 3. Did I and do I look at those goals daily? Whoa. I can tell you I've had coaching clients say, but Joe, that is just so painful. Look, whatever you want to grow, you have to focus on. And so if you want goal achievement to happen and your goals are written, you better start the morning looking at them, asking yourself that question. Are my actions today consistent with hitting those goals? I'm doing this in the morning, and I can tell you I have a goal of closing 5 deals today. I said it to you, and I will tell you if I did that, I'll say I struck out or I hit a home run, but I have a goal. Now, do you have a measurement process? How do you measure if you hit things? How do you measure processes, success? How do you measure it? Do you have a measuring process in place? Number 5, you've heard me talk about this endlessly, so I got to ask the question. Do you know your non-negotiables? Do you know your non-negotiables? An A under this one, like an outline. How many times did you negotiate with your non-negotiable? Number 6, is your business plan capable of delivering your desired results? So have you built a business plan that can get you where you want to go? So many times our business plan, although it may be good, it's not built to get us where we want to go. I was working with a team up in New Hampshire, and we were talking about during the sales training before we got on the phone, we said, okay, here's the numbers you want to hit. This is when you want to hit them. We've got the skills in place to go to work, but let me ask you, is your business plan built to hit those numbers? Because Peachy and Peachy, about 16 months ago, when we decided the numbers we wanted to hit, we had to reevaluate. We had to reevaluate our business plan, restructure our business plan because it would not have delivered the end result. I hope that makes sense to you. All right. Now, have you, listen, have you gotten off course? I mean, if you're not on track, do you know where you went off course? That's a key thing. And so, when I give this list, this is not to beat anybody up. This is certainly not to beat you up and beat me up. But if you know where you went off course, it's easy to self-correct. It's easy to pull us back. Now, number 8. What percentage of my time is spent planning? Right? So when you look at your time management, your priority and time management system, how much of your time every day, every week, every month, every year is going to planning? And then the 9th question, what percentage of my time is spent executing? If you just plan and you're not executing, things are not going to get done. Let me introduce the X Factor. Now, please, I'm not talking about the X Factor that came out a couple years ago for multi-level marketing company. Don't mistake these two, okay? This is an X Factor thing of something I use for Peachy and Peachy, okay? The X Factor, these are actions that deliver accomplishment, results, or a process. If you have, quote unquote, what I call the X Factor that I'll explain, this is going to create a greater focus for you. So let's discuss the power of 4. And once again, I'm not talking to you about the Power 4 X Factor that opened up about 10 years ago, a multi-level marketing system, which may have been effective. This is the Power of 4 by which you're going to look at the 4 major factors in your business that are going to determine the most growth. Okay? 90% of your increase comes from 4 major actions. Listen what I just said. 90% of business increase will come from 4 major actions. All the other actions will support that. Do you know what the 4 are? Do you know the 4 most powerful areas, actions, executions that will determine the most growth? To create a great fourth quarter, I would recommend you define and execute these 4. Now listen to this. This is going to be amazing. I did some research. 90% of professional salespeople spend less than 90 minutes a day in front of prospective or existing clients. You hear what I said? 90% of sales professionals spend less than 90 minutes a day with prospective or present clients with the intent to sell. That's kind of a scary thing to me. You know, if you're not with clients and you're in sales, what are you doing? Before we define our Power of 4 actions, put this chart to work. I want you to make this chart. All right? Number 1, goals and what they are. So your number 1 under focus is write down your goals, what they are. Number 2, how will I measure if I hit them or if I don't? Number 3, what are the action steps? And number 4, what are the timelines and deadlines to get it done? So let's look at 4 actions we must do. I'm going to tell you what Peachy and Peachy. All right? I'll tell you what Peachy and Peachy has for the fourth quarter, finishing strong, starting fast. These are the 4 things Peachy and Peachy will work on in the fourth quarter 90% of our time. Number 1, we're going to utilize 3 of our 17 lead generation processes. Now, what does that mean? We generate leads many, many, many ways, okay? We really do, but we're going to pick 3, the top 3 that generate the most leads, and we're going to spend most of our time in those. Number 2, outbound calls. This is going to take top priority to book quality meetings. So the number 2 thing is going to be the outbound calls. Number 3 is core stories or sales presentations. We're going to focus 90% of our time in these. And number 4, execution, which is we're training, we're speaking, or we're coaching. So when we look at finishing strong, starting fast in the fourth quarter, 90% of our time is going to be 3 aspects of lead generation, outbound calls, sales presentations, and executing our speaking, coaching, and training. We have our boot camps coming up. Okay, on 21, 22, 23 of October, we got our sales boot camp. 24, 25, 26, our speaker boot camp. Well, if I'm not careful, only one of the 4 will get executed. That's where Dawn and I will be speaking and training and coaching. However, when people are having lunch, I'm going to be making outbound calls before people get in the room in the morning. 2 of the ways we generate leads, I don't need anybody around me. I'm going to be generating leads. So understand that week, 3 of the 4 action items will be done without any drop-off in production, because this is what's going to help us to grow. So what are yours? I mean, now, of course, we have to develop content, but that's one of those 10% things that support everything else. What are yours? define and write them down. I want you to define and write down what are your power of four for the fourth quarter. I didn't say for all time. I'm saying for the fourth quarter. And by the way, if this is a little strong, I apologize. I've been on overnight planes and pumping myself with vitamins and protein shakes and coffee, and I'm fired up, And so if I'm a little bit over the edge today, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be straight with you and tell you that if you execute this power of four for your fourth quarter, not only will your fourth quarter be great for you, it's going to create a wake like water. It's going to create momentum in which January, February, March might be just the best first quarter you've ever had. And so as we begin to look at what your four are, let me give you a couple coaching points when you're looking at those four. You want to ask yourself, is this growth or is this management? In other words, am I managing something or am I growing something? That's the first question, because in this fourth quarter, you want it to be growth, not management, okay? Is it proactive or reactive? You want it to be proactive, okay? You want it to be, so many companies I walk into, and I'm not putting them down, but almost all of their business is coming from referrals. Well, what that says is you're hoping that the people who refer you don't take time off for the holidays, don't back off. So now your business is intertwined with how other people are thinking. Are referrals good? No, they're great. But if you are not proactive, if you're not taking the ball, if you're not running with it, if you're not making an outbound approach, then you're counting on the way other people view the fourth quarter. Okay? So I'm going to give you a call to action. You might want to write a few of these down. Make sure 90% of your time is spent in the power of four. Okay? Number 2. Track your numbers. Not weekly, not monthly, but daily. Number 3, stay focused on highest revenue producing activities. Okay, don't just do stuff to do them. Don't do busy, do productive. Do productive. In sales, book more meetings. Double the amount of calls. Now, anytime you get around time of year that could be based with a lot of holiday seasons, people having dinners and all, you can still get appointments. You may have to make twice as many calls. That's what I always plan on doing. Number 5, execute the meetings. You want to double the amount of one-on-one or group or sales meetings you're doing. I have a goal to double the amount of core stories I would normally do the last 3 months of the year. I want to double it. And then, number 6, never make an excuse. Number 7, never make an excuse. Number 8, never make an excuse. Number 9, never make an excuse. And number 10, never make an excuse. This is Joe Peachy of the Sales Edge. Take out your phone, type in 55678, put in the message Sales Edge, one word, text it, get to the link, hit it, go to our landing page. There's some free downloads. There's also links to our podcast. Please, if you like this, like it, share it, write a great comment about it. Feel free to grab that cup of Joe. 407-947-2590. Feel free to send in suggestions, disagreements, other topics you would like to see us entertain on this show. Eventually, we're going to have guests, maybe you. Joe at PICIANDPICI.com. That's my email. We're certainly wanting to get better and be more of a resource to you. This has been podcast number 44, and you have a great day. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening. New episodes will air each Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star review. The Sales Edge is sponsored by Peachy & Peachy Incorporated, a firm which provides training, consulting, and keynote presentations, empowering corporations and individuals to attract and retain quality clients for higher revenues and growth. Make more money in sales. Speak with Joe in person by calling 407-947-2590 or visit www.peachyandpeachy.com, spelled PICIAND, PICI.com.